In 1958, the world shrank. Not because of any war, not because of any treaty, but because of a machine. A machine with 4 jet engines, a swept-back wing, and a promise that anywhere on Earth could be reached in hours. This is the story of the Boeing 707, the aircraft that didn't just change aviation, it changed everything. It began with a bet. In 1952, Boeing's leadership made a decision that stunned the industry. They would spend $16 million of their own money, with no customer, no contract, and no guarantee, to build a prototype jet transport. They called it the Model 3 67-80. The engineers called it the Dash 80. At the time, the world still flew on propellers. Airlines were cautious. The idea of a commercial jet seemed ambitious, even reckless. But Boeing had seen what jet engines could do in the skies over Korea, and they believed deeply that the future was in the jet age. On July 15, 1954, the Dash 80 lifted off from Renton, Washington. It was faster, smoother, and more powerful than anything that had ever carried passengers. The age of the jet airliner had arrived. The aircraft that didn't just change aviation, it changed everything. What made the 707 possible was a combination of engineering decisions, each one precise, each one deliberate. The wing, swept back at 35 degrees, it was designed to slice through the air at speeds approaching the sound barrier, without the instability that had haunted early jet designs. The engines. 4 Pratt and Whitney JT 3 turbojets, later upgraded to turbofans, mounted forward on pylons beneath the wings. This placement did something elegant. It moved the weight away from the fuselage, reducing vibration and improving aerodynamic efficiency. The fuselage, wide enough for 6 abreast seating, long enough to carry over 180 passengers. Everything about the 707 was a statement that aviation had entered a new era, one measured not in hours, but in minutes. The Dash 80 had proven the concept. Now Boeing needed a customer. They found one in Pan American World Airways and its visionary president, Juan Tripper. On October 13, 1955, Pan Am ordered 27 07s. It was the largest aircraft purchase in history at the time, and it set off a chain reaction. American Airlines followed, United followed, TWA followed. Suddenly, every major airline in the world was racing to enter the jet age, because the ones that didn't would be left behind. On October 26, 1958, Pan Am operated the first transatlantic passenger jet service, New York to Paris, aboard a Boeing 707. The flight took 8.5 hours. The previous record, by propeller-driven aircraft, was nearly twice that. For the first time in history, the Atlantic Ocean felt small. The 707 didn't just carry passengers. It carried an idea. The idea that distance was no longer destiny. That a businessman in New York could meet a partner in London the same morning. That a family separated by an ocean could be reunited in hours. Over 1,000 Boeing 707s were built. They flew for over 40 airlines across 6 continents. They carried presidents, prime ministers, and ordinary people who had never imagined they would ever see the sky from above the clouds. The aircraft also gave birth to an entire family: the 727, the 737, the 747. Every wide-body jet flying today traces its DNA. Back to this moment. Back to this aircraft. The Boeing 707 was retired from most commercial service by the 1980s, but its influence never left. Every time you board a modern airliner, every time you cross an ocean in hours rather than days, you are living in the world the 707 made possible. Some machines carry people. The Boeing 707 carried the future.